there seems to have been a bird strike or something else, and the landing gear was not able to come down properly, it seems. And the aircraft tried to land twice unsuccessfully. And upon the second try, it basically skid on the runway and hit a wall, exploding into flames and splitting in two. And the front of the aircraft seems to be beyond recognition, according to authorities. And two people have survived, although the latest numbers now say that the death toll seems to have risen to 179 and two missing. So that's basically the entire aircraft.
That devastating plane crash in South Korea. The cause has yet to be confirmed, but the fire service says it believes a collision with birds and poor weather may be to blame. Let's get more with Raphael Rashid, who's in Seoul. Good morning, Raphael. It sounds bizarre, doesn't it? A collision with birds and poor weather in the modern age to bring down a plane with 181 people on it, most of whom are feared dead, feels bizarre.
I mean, the exact cause has yet to be determined officially, but as you mentioned, it would seem that it might have been a collision with birds. Unfortunately, this is a possibility. And even though the chances are very slim of it happening, if it does happen, it could be very devastating. As I understand, aviation experts say that bird strikes, just a single duck that weighs 900 grams hitting an aircraft traveling at 370 kilometers per hour can generate an impact of 4.8 tons. So the risks are there. As slim as they may be. Now, this is, again, not officially confirmed, but it would seem that this is the case. There are two survivors, of which one was able to speak after being evacuated and said that indeed there had been a bird strike.
Wow.
On
Okay.
board.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And we've had that line too from the fire service. Take us through what actually happened for those people who are just tuning in at the moment.
Yeah, a Jeju Air flight from Bangkok was coming to Muan in South Korea, which is in the southwest of the country. It was carrying 181 people on board, including 175 passengers and 6 crew. There seems to have been a bird strike or something else, and the landing gear was not able to come down properly, it seems. And the aircraft tried to land twice unsuccessfully. And upon the second try, it basically skid on the runway and hit a wall, exploding into flames and splitting in two. And the front of the aircraft seems to be beyond recognition, according to authorities. And two people have survived, although the latest numbers now say that the death toll seems to have risen to 179 and two missing. So that's basically the entire aircraft. And emergency efforts and relief rescue efforts are underway at the airport, including with the acting president who has been on site coordinating those efforts.
Yeah, will this raise any public pressure, do you think, for South Korea's leaders to resolve the political crisis there? The fact that two presidents face impeachment, there is another sort of interim president at the moment. Will there be any nods to that at all today?
Right. I mean, obviously, these are completely unrelated, separate issues or crises, but one cannot help but put the two together when the president, Yoon Suk-yeol, has been voted for impeachment. He's suspended, and then his replacement got suspended as well. So now we have an acting president that has been in his role for only 2 days, and now he has to deal with this crisis. If there's anything that could come out of this is perhaps or potentially the two rival political parties will put their animosity aside and come together in unity in what has become probably the worst aviation disaster on Korean soil. So they seem to be doing separate efforts, but I think many observers are hoping that this will be hopefully a chance for them to also work together.
Look, thanks so much for joining us again, Raphael Rashid, who's in Seoul, just on that Boeing 737 crash. It crash landed after what is thought to be an encounter with a bird or birds. It's still all waiting to be confirmed. Weather could also be at play there. 181 people on board, and it's thought that all but two have died. In terms of facts established, what do we know about this crash?
Yeah, we know that a Jeju Air flight from Bangkok to Muan International Airport crashed approximately at 9 a.m. local time today, Sunday morning in South Korea. Muan is a place located in the southwest of the country. We know it was a Boeing 737-800 that was carrying 181 passengers on board, of which 175 were regular passengers and 6 were crew members, 173 South Koreans and 2 Thai nationals. We understand that the aircraft had difficulties landing. It would seem, while the investigation is ongoing, it would seem that the aircraft might have hit some birds in the sky. There's footage coming out of something hitting the aircraft and a fire coming out of the engine. It seems that the landing gear was not able to properly come down, and so the aircraft tried to land once, was unable to try it again, but this time on its belly without the wheels, and the aircraft skid on the runway and crashed into a barrier when it erupted in flames and split into two. We know that so far, all fire authorities say that there seems to be at least 120 dead and 2 survivors, although they predict that no one else will have survived. And now it's a matter of retrieving the bodies from the severely damaged aircraft. A morgue has been set up at Muan Airport, and the acting president, Choi Sang-mok, has arrived on scene to coordinate the rescue efforts. The area itself has been declared a disaster zone, which will facilitate extra emergency responses from the local authorities.
Yeah, so 181 on board, all but 2 presumed to have died. So this, sadly, this death toll will go up throughout the morning. 2 survivors. I mean, that is extraordinary. One air steward and 1 passenger believed to have survived, and I can't even begin to think how horrendous that would be. Generally, South Korea's aviation industry has a pretty solid track record for safety, doesn't it, Raphael?
Yeah, these things do not happen often in South Korea as well. Of course, there have been some incidents, some accidents in the past, but they've been, I would say, several decades ago, and some of these happened outside the country. But this, if the death toll is confirmed, would be one of the worst, if not the worst, domestic aviation disaster. It's going to take obviously several weeks, several days or several weeks to find out what has happened. It is understood that a lot of the passengers on board were there on a package tour, a special Christmas package tour, and went to Thailand for a 3-night, 5-day trip. It's also tragic that this airport is a very small regional airport, and they had just resumed international travel after 17 years. And this Bangkok to Muan route had started on December 8th, just one among several routes that had resumed to boost the tourism industry and make the airport become a bit more popular in this very local area. And only 3 weeks after launching this route, we have this terrible, terrible accident that has happened.
Look, thanks so much just for bringing us up to date. We'll check in with this story again as and when, and of course you'll hear the latest